Welcome to the Service Industry Podcast. I've spent the last decade as a CEO, operator, and business builder selling tens of millions of dollars in products and services. I, just like many of you, started with nothing. My mission for this podcast is to help you become the greatest version of yourself, help you grow and scale your business, and create the life you've always dreamed of. I'm your host, Matt Smith. Enjoy the episode. What's going on, everybody? Matt here from the Service Industry Podcast. I got a quick, short one for you today, but I think it's going to be a good one. And we're going to be talking about why you are losing to the cheap guys in town. Now, listen, doesn't matter what industry you're in. They all say it, whether you're in roofing, power washing, painting, fence installation, you name it, they all say it. Matt, my industry's flooded with cheap guys. The industry's ruined. It's not ruined. You're just losing to them because of one reason. And we're going to talk about it today, and it's an easy thing to fix. Before we dive in, you guys know I own ServiceIndustryCoach.com. We are helping hundreds of home service business owners all across the country every single month with print marketing and coaching. So if you need help, you want to grow, you want to scale, you want more leads, you got to get in touch with us. The link is in the show notes, or you can just go to ServiceIndustryCoach.com and connect with me there. So recently, you guys know I'm on this little TikTok journey of growing a TikTok channel that I post on all the time, multiple times a day, 3 to 5 times a day on average, and I get tons of people reaching out to me on there. One of the biggest things that I see people talking about, contractors specifically, in all different industries, is how they all have been tricked in believing that their industry is saturated with cheap guys. Now, I have a secret to tell you guys, and you're not going to be happy to hear this, but every industry is saturated with cheap guys. And honestly, pretty much every industry is saturated in general. Okay, so that's the bad news. The good news is there are tons of customers out there that are doing everything in their power to avoid the cheap contractor. Maybe they've been burned in the past. Maybe they're just a higher-end client and they just like to buy from the best and they like to buy the best. Those people are everywhere. So there are plenty of customers who are absolutely trying to avoid the cheap guy. However, you might be going, I don't know, Matt, maybe I'm just not finding the right customers. You are likely finding the right customers. I just hate to tell you this, but the reason they're not going with you is because they don't see a big enough difference between you and the cheap guy. Okay, I'll say that again for those of you that might have been confused by it. The reason customers are choosing cheap people or cheap contractors over you is because you're not different enough for them to see enough value in the price that you're charging. So in return, they put you on the same scale as the cheap guy and they go with the cheap guy instead because his price is less. And you guys, on paper or value standpoint, look identical. Okay, that's one you guys need to listen to like 6 times, really soak it in and go, F. Okay, now that's not me saying that you're never going to lose to a cheap contractor. That's not me saying there's not customers out there who want the cheapest guy or who need the cheapest guy because they don't have money. That's a different thing. What we're talking about today is customers who want to hire quality home service businesses and they're going with the cheaper home service business because there's not enough of a difference between the cheap guy and the expensive guy. And it's your fault. So the first thing that we do here is we start with brand. Okay? It's no secret. I was at a coffee shop last weekend with my daughter, and we pull up. I've been there a million times, but it's just a local. It's not a chain. It's a local shop. There's only one of them. They bake their own goods in-house. Like if you drove by there at 12 o'clock at night, they've got people in there at midnight making bakery stuff for the next day. So it's all fresh, super high end, great ingredients. But they charge twice as much for their coffee as Starbucks. Okay. And last weekend I was with my daughter and I was like, geez, they charge literally twice as much as Starbucks. And then I was thinking to myself, why is it that they can charge twice as much for coffee, but always have a line out the door? Well, it's a couple things. One, they've built a great brand. Okay. Two, they've built a great reputation, meaning they run a good, tight business. Three, they offer an experience that none of the other coffee shops in town offer. Okay. They offer high quality coffee. They offer high quality baked goods. The inside of their coffee shop is super unique and there's nowhere around like it. So in return, it attracts a certain type of buyer. Now, the buyer who just wants the cheapest cup of coffee, they're probably just going to go to McDonald's drive-thru and get one for $1. But somebody like me who wants good coffee and a good quality baked good, I'm happy to go there and spend twice as much. And based on the line out the door every time I pull in the parking lot, so are a lot of other people. Now, this translates the exact same way to your business. You're like, well, how does that make sense? Well, it makes a ton of sense. What does your brand look like? Have you invested in your brand at all? At all? Like outside of like building some BS logo on Canva? Like, have you hired somebody that understands how to build logos and brands and allowed them to do that for you? If the answer is no, start there. That's number one. Number two, when you actually get the phone call from the potential customer wanting a quote, what is that experience like on the phone? Does the phone get answered? How fast do you get out there? Once you're out there, do you run the customer through a super high level professional sales presentation, a sales process, or do you have no sales process? Is every estimate that you give ran the exact same way, or yes or no? If the answer is no, there's the second place you can start. Okay? So like those two things alone, you do those two things. You build a great brand, you answer the phone, you get out to the customer's house within 24 hours, you run them through an extremely high level sales process. They're already going, ooh, this company feels different. There's something different about this guy than the last company we called, and the guy answered his phone driving 70 down the highway on speakerphone, and he didn't get out here for a week, and he was 30 minutes late, and he didn't call me. Yeah, he was cheaper, but he didn't even have a uniform on. He pulled up in a truck that just had a small magnet on the side. It feels different. The customer can feel it. They're going, oh, okay, this is why this company charges more. Of course. They offer a higher level of service. They're more professional. Okay? And I think contractors sometimes get this mixed up. They think like, well, I can show up to the house and I know a lot about roofing. I know a lot about power washing. I'm educated. Customer doesn't care, dude. The customer doesn't care because guess what? The cheap guy's probably educated too. So you've got to switch your thinking. How does the customer feel when they buy from us? How does it feel? Does it feel different? You need to ask yourself that hard question. If somebody's calling me versus 5 other companies, do we feel massively different? Do we? Do we feel massively different than everybody else? If the answer's no, we need to go through step by step from when the customer calls till the final inspection when the job is done of everything that we can do at the highest level so nobody can compete with us. So we feel different than everybody. So customers can justify paying us more. But instead of doing the work of all of that, business owners just want to bitch and complain about the cheap guys. You guys, there's always going to be cheap guys out there. They come and they go, right? They do jobs for a year or two, and guess what? They go out of business because they didn't make money those 2 years, and they move on to the next thing, and then new cheap guys come in town. They're not going anywhere. You just have to get better. You are not good enough. And until you're good enough in the customer's eyes, they will continue to put you at the same level as the cheap guy. And you will lose job after job after job because you feel no different. So build a brand. Make all your marketing cohesive. Answer the phone when it rings. Don't let it go to voicemail. If you can't do that, hire an answering service. Get out and do the quotes within 24 hours. Walk the customer through a super high-level sales process. This, by the way, will allow you to close more deals. This will raise your close rate. This will raise your one-stop closes. Okay? And then, when you close the job, fulfill on the promises you make to the customer. Go above and beyond. Make sure everything you told them that was going to happen happens. And at the end of that job, you will feel different than any other contractor they ever hired, and they will become a referral machine. And so I just wanted to put this short one out because rather than getting frustrated about the cheap guys, we just have to get better than them. We just have to make it so the customers actually see the value in us. Okay? And yeah, that means you're probably going to have to spend some money on your brand. You might need to rebrand your company. You might need to get some professional folders that are branded to your business designed. It might mean that you need to put some systems and processes in place to make sure the phone's always getting answered. And so you're getting out to the customer's house before some of your competitors even call them back. I know it's a lot of work. Guess what? That's called business, my friends. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And so I want to put this out there because we're always going to have cheap guys. It sucks. Trust me, I hate it too. And you're not going to beat them all. Okay? But for the right customers, if you do this properly, you will. People will be happy to pay you more. Just in the last 2 weeks, we've won multiple jobs where we were thousands of dollars more expensive, and they were happy to pay it because they saw the value difference. They saw the value difference because we ran them through everything I just talked about. By the end of our sales presentation, they're going, dang, dude, these guys know what the F they're doing. I can't not go with them because they know all of my problems. They listen to all of my concerns. We sold them exactly how they wanted to be sold. And that's the ethical way to do it. And then you go fulfill on the promises and you do the thing the customer needed you to do. And in return, they will pay you way more than the cheap guys. And that's that. So if you guys need help with any of this, you need help with branding, logo design, you want to do one-on-one coaching to build out your sales process, I'm here for you. I'd love to work with you. You can reach out to me on the website, serviceindustrycoach.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. As always, if you need any help marketing your business or want to work with me directly doing one-on-one coaching, visit serviceindustrycoach.com. We'll see you on the next episode.